Hi guys. I thought maybe I would do a video today on some small-time preps for people just getting started. I have been a prepper for a very long time, but I lost all my preps due to several circumstances, and so I have to start over, which is not necessarily a bad thing. At least we know it's all fresh. Now, being on a budget and living in an apartment, a person has to do things smaller scale than some rich person that would go around and buy $10,000 worth of freeze-dried food, put it in some fancy bunker up in some mountain with a helicopter pad to get him there. So here's what I did. First of all, we start with oatmeal. Okay, got two of these big large things of oatmeal. Okay, just got those yesterday. Got a huge thing of Krusties. This is pancake mix. And then here is a huge bottle of syrup. I also have some spaghetti noodles and some spaghetti sauce and a big large tin of lard. Okay, we have some Knorr Alfredo broccoli and some cheddar broccoli. We also got 4 pounds of rice. I didn't want to have it all in there when we started because, well, you know, I'd have to move it all so you can see it. So we got 4 pounds of rice yesterday, which also helps keep stuff from rattling around in there. We have a thing of Fleischmann's Active Dry Yeast because you're going to have to cook, okay? As much as you would like to probably be able to live with all sorts of stuff that's easy to fix, you know, and doesn't always work out that way. We also got a bag of flour and 2 jars of peanut butter. Peanut butter is being very calorie dense. Also, to make soup stocks, I got a very large can of chicken bouillon and another very large can of beef bouillon, which could make some nice soup stocks, you know, depending on if you find wild edibles, like, I don't know, lamb's quarters. You know, they taste okay, but they're really not that great, so you want to flavor them up a little bit. You put them in a soup, makes it a lot more palatable to eat. Also, I'm going to be putting in here a thing of ramen noodles. What else? Oh yeah, and I also have 4 cans of tuna in oil and 2 cans of Spam. 1 regular. Nope, they're both regular. The Spam actually is pretty good. Gives you a little bit of protein, which, you know, a person is probably going to need. My family despises beans, except for me. I happen to like them. But my family despises them, so having beans in there might not be the best thing in the world, because if you can't get your family to eat it, then, well, you won't have anything for them to eat, and they will actually starve because they won't eat it. Now, eventually they'll get hungry enough to eat it, but they say when you get tired of a certain food, you get to where you don't eat, and then you basically starve. I'm sure there's a term for that. So, I don't know what that's called. But anyway, I am going to be loading up the rest of this, which is odds and ends. I have several MREs. Those may or may not make it into this. And as soon as this is full, I'll put this little lid on it, and I'll stuff it back in a corner, and that will be an emergency supply. Now, there's probably a month's worth of breakfast here. Okay? There are not that many lunches or dinners. Of course, we're just starting. But at least 6 lunches or dinners with a couple of sides. The peanut butter, you could eat that as a standalone, or you can, you know, mix it with things like the oatmeal to make some more palatable trail type food if you needed to bug out. What else? And of course, the ramen noodles are super cheap, and everybody's going to scream bloody murder, oh my God, this stuff is not very healthy. Well, no, it's not. But it's calories and it's food. So if you want to donate to me on Patreon to be able to buy better tasting, more healthy items, by all means go do so, because, I'm about broke. I am living in an apartment with my son. He's paying the rent. He has no extra money. I have no extra money. So whatever I manage to put aside is a miracle all by itself. And no, I'm not e-begging, just so everybody knows. I started a Patreon just in case somebody felt generous enough to help, but if they don't help, that's fine too. I can do this by myself. Today, this afternoon, I'm going to go down to Walmart, and I'm going to stop at the dollar store and stuff first, see about little planters, little pots. I'm going to be making a container garden to be able to grow a little bit of my own food. I also yesterday ordered online a survival seed vault. It's got tons of non-GMO, non-hybrid, heirloom seeds. Okay? Because, shit hits the fan, and it's just liable to with the grand solar minimum and everything else that's going on. It's liable to hit the fan. Now, I don't know whether it's going to hit the fan as a localized version or a national version or a worldwide version. But, you plan for the big stuff, and the little stuff is easily handled. Okay? So I planned for a localized problem, and then it ends up being a worldwide problem. I'm kind of screwed. So what I'll do is I'll plan for the big stuff and hope it never happens. And then the little stuff, if it shows up, well, I've got a plan. So, and that plan includes having enough food on hand to start with for 30 days. So I am going to rifle through my cabinets right now and pick out a few more things. I've got, just a few things in there. A jar of honey that I'm going to put down in there. And there's a couple more cans of, more cans of Spam up there I'm going to put down in there, because I have very, very little room in this little tiny kitchen to store anything. So, it's not like I have a big, huge pantry I can put all this stuff in, and then if I need it, just pull it out. It's got to be in a tub, and it's got to be stored off to the side, or it's just going to be running around sitting on my countertop, which I only have 2, 4, 5, maybe 6 feet of countertop total in this house. So, oh, there's also a huge box of malto meal that I'm going to be putting in here. One of the large ones. Again, it's calories. Okay? It's calories to have shit gets bad. And yes, I'm going to use the S word, and I may cuss. So if you guys don't like it, I'm sorry. I would appreciate any subscribes I could get. I will be looking at any comments, but please try to keep them helpful. We don't need a bunch of people screaming that I don't know what I'm doing and that I am going to die. Okay? May happen. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I am going to die. But I don't need anybody screaming at me telling me that. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have, which isn't much, but it will work for now. And if things get better in the future, then I'll be able to plan more appropriately and be able to buy things that have more long-term storage capabilities. I found several places online where you can order all that stuff, but at $25 a can, it doesn't take long before you've killed a $100 bill. Okay, and some of them are more than $25 a can. So, yeah, it's nice to have that stuff because it lasts so long. But, in the case of flour, if I bought a thing of flour and that was freeze-dried and packaged and all that stuff for long-term storage, that's great. It's a number 10 can, okay, which is about maybe a little bit more than that bag right there. And it costs like $24, $25. Bought this bag for like $3, is it? Something like that. Not very much. I can throw this bag away after a couple of years and buy another one to replace it, and do that, quite a few times. At least 8 times before I would run into the fact that I might be able to have just purchased a long-term storage to begin with. Not to mention the fact that, we will be rotating this stuff as needed. Okay? So when I run out of the stuff in my canisters, I'll buy me another one, and I'll go over here and I'll open this tub up. I'll pull this flour out, put the new one in, take this flour one and go put it in my canister. Same way with the oatmeal. When the oatmeal thing that I have is empty, I'll buy another one. I'll come in here, I'll grab one of these, then I will put the new one in there and pull the other one out. It's all a matter of rotation. I'm not going to be storing a bunch of stuff I won't eat. Okay, I'm going to be storing a bunch of stuff that my family won't eat. So it's not stuff that's going to sit around. It's going to actually be used. I say a lot, don't I? And when I get a chance, I will be putting my bug out bag on display. I'll lay it all out on a tarp and show you all the items in it and why I have those items in there and what I think those items are the best for. So if you would like, comment, and subscribe, I would appreciate it. Share it with your friends. My idea behind this is to let everybody know you don't have to be rich, you don't have to be famous, you don't have to have tons of money in order to start stockpiling a little food security for yourself. Everybody needs to look at the Grand Solar Minimum. A guy by the name of John L. Casey wrote a book called The Cold Sun. Okay? And it denotes in there all the types of Grand Solar Minimums we've had over the last, I don't know how many hundreds of years. But about every 206-ish years, there is a solar cycle where the sun goes into a more of a minimum phase, okay? And the Earth cools. And if you look over at all the stuff, about every 200-ish years, there's a famine, okay? There was one year without a summer. Of course, with the Grand Solar Minimum, it's not just a matter of the world getting colder. It has to also do with, I think it's electromagnetic radiation or something like that. It causes all sorts of other problems too. It causes earthquakes. It causes volcanoes to pop off. Okay, it causes droughts, and it also causes heat waves, but also, which is the worst part, is it causes extreme cold. Now, extreme cold kills crops. Crops feed people. Without crops, people starve. So, there you go. That doesn't mean that if it did get super, super bad, I wouldn't starve, but I wouldn't starve near as fast as other people. And, like they say, you're walking in the woods with your buddy and a bear starts chasing you. Do you have to outrun the bear, or do you have to outrun your buddy? Okay? Sounds kind of cold, but the fact of the matter is if I can live and my family can live long enough to get past the worst of it, and there is going to be a huge die-off with this. There will be a lot of people die and starve to death. That frees up resources for everybody else. So I'm hoping, and not necessarily for me, you know, I'm older and I'm not in the best of health, but my son is. My son, I want to live. And if I can help him live, and also help myself in the meanwhile, that's all good. It's all good. So, anyway, I'm going to call this quits for right now. I'm going to put a couple more things in here, like I said, but not a whole lot. And then I'm going to take this tub, and I'm going to go stack it over in the corner with a lid on it. And to keep, you know, cats out, I have to tape up that little corner, because, of course, I had to pick one that was broken. But you use what you have. So I'll probably be making a video on my little container garden. As I live in a very small upstairs 2-bedroom apartment, there you can't have a garden, okay? But you can have something. Even if I have a long trough that grows some collard greens, that's one less dollar I have to spend on food, okay? Plus collard greens are good for you. It's just an example, okay? Not to mention there's other gear that has to be gathered. I have some of it already, but I'll show you the bug out bag thing later. And I appreciate each and every one of you coming in here today. I don't have very many subscribers, so this is kind of a small audience. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. And we'll see how much I can get gathered up over the next month or two. I hope to have about 5 or 6 of these anyway. We need to have at least 30 days worth of food stored, maybe more. If I can grow a little bit, of course, when you're growing, it can extend your food stores, which is very important. Now, that being that I live here in El Paso, it's a desert, so water is going to be an issue. If the proverbial excrement hits the oscillating air moving device, then we're going to be probably bugging out. If it happens to be an EMP, we'll be bugging out on foot, and probably with a hand truck with food on the hand truck, to take as much with us as we can. So, all right, you guys have a good day, and I will try to make another video in the next day or two to see if you guys are interested in that kind of content. Thank you.